Welcome back to my channel. Right now, something is quietly happening that is affecting millions of people, and there is a very high chance it is affecting you too. People are earning, people are working hard, but somehow at the end of the month, there is less money left to save than ever before. Even individuals with stable incomes, even those earning what many would consider a good salary, are feeling financial pressure. And the surprising part is that this is not just about how much you earn. It is about what is happening to your money after it comes into your hands. If you have ever looked at your bank balance and wondered where your money went, or if you have tried to save but found it harder than before, you are not alone. I have spent years studying personal finance behavior and patterns, and what we are seeing right now is a shift in how people save, spend, and think about money. And if you understand what is happening beneath the surface, you can position yourself much better than the average person. Let us start with a simple idea. Saving money is what remains after you earn and spend. It sounds basic, but this one concept controls your financial future. If nothing is left at the end of the month, then there is nothing to build on. And that is where the real problem begins for most people. Over the past few years, many people actually built up a financial cushion. During periods when spending opportunities were limited, people stayed home more, traveled less, and as a result, unintentionally saved more money. Some people received additional financial support, others simply spent less. So for a moment, it felt like things were improving. But then reality shifted. Prices started increasing across almost everything: food, fuel, rent, transportation, healthcare. Everyday life became more expensive, and when the cost of living rises, it quietly eats into both your income and your savings. What used to be enough last year may not be enough today, even if your salary has not changed. Now here's where it gets interesting. On paper, many households still have more money saved than they did years ago. But in real life, people feel more stressed. Why? Because that extra money is slowly being used up to maintain the same lifestyle. It is like filling a bucket with water, but there is a small leak at the bottom. At first, it does not seem like a problem. But over time, the water level drops, and this is exactly what is happening with savings. A large number of people are dipping into the money they once set aside. Sometimes it is for essential expenses. Sometimes it is to cover gaps between income and rising costs. And sometimes it is simply because old spending habits have returned. Let me make this more relatable with a simple example. Imagine someone named Ahmed. He has a stable job and earns a decent monthly income. A couple of years ago, he managed to save a good amount because his expenses were lower. He felt confident. He thought he was finally getting ahead. But gradually his rent increased. Grocery bills became higher. Fuel costs went up. At the same time, he started going out more, traveling again, and returning to his previous lifestyle. Nothing felt extreme on its own, but combined, these changes started to reduce his monthly savings. At first, he continued saving a small amount. Then some months he saved nothing. Eventually, he started using his savings to cover extra expenses. And now, even though his income has not decreased, his financial stress has increased. This situation is more common than people realize. Now you might be thinking, if people still have some savings, why is there so much concern? The answer is simple. Savings are not just about having money, they are about security. They are about having options when something unexpected happens. When that cushion starts shrinking, even slowly, it creates uncertainty. Another important factor is how income is distributed. Not everyone experiences this situation in the same way. People with higher incomes may still have a larger buffer, while those with lower incomes often spend most of what they earn on basic needs. For them, saving becomes extremely difficult because almost every dollar has a purpose before it even arrives. So the challenge is not just about saving more. It is about understanding where your money is going and making intentional decisions. Now let us talk about one of the biggest hidden forces affecting your savings: inflation. Inflation simply means that over time, things become more expensive. If something cost 100 last year and now costs 110, your money has effectively lost some of its value. Even if you keep the same amount of cash, its purchasing power decreases. This is why just keeping money idle is not always enough, because while your money sits still, prices continue to move. At the same time, there is another factor that most people do not fully understand: interest rates. When interest rates increase, banks and financial institutions often offer better returns on savings. But here is the catch: these increases do not always immediately benefit the average person. Many traditional accounts still offer very low returns, sometimes so low that they do not even keep up with inflation. This means your money may technically be growing, but in reality, it could still be losing value over time. So, what can you do about all of this? First, you need to accept one important truth. There is no perfect moment to start managing your money better. Conditions will always change. The economy will go through cycles. There will always be uncertainty. Waiting for the perfect time often leads to no action at all. Instead, focus on what you can control. One of the most effective strategies is automation. When you automatically set aside a portion of your income before you have the chance to spend it, you remove the need for constant discipline. This could be through a retirement plan, a dedicated savings account, or any system that moves money out of your main spending account regularly. The idea is simple. If you do not see the money, you are less likely to spend it. Another key step is understanding the difference between short-term and long-term savings. Money that you might need in the near future should be easily accessible and relatively safe. This is where accounts that offer better returns than traditional savings can be useful, as long as they are secure and reliable. For longer-term goals, the approach may be different. Depending on your situation, you might consider options that allow your money to grow over time. But it is important to understand the risks and not make decisions based on trends or hype. Let us pause here for a quick reality check. You do not need to save a large percentage right away. In fact, for many people, that is not realistic. What matters more is consistency. Saving something regularly, even a small amount, builds a habit. And habits are what create long-term results. Now let me share another short story. Consider someone named Sarah. She was not earning a very high income, and for a long time, she believed saving was not possible for her. Every month felt tight. But instead of trying to make a drastic change, she started small. She set aside a very small amount automatically each month. At first, it did not seem like much. But over time, she adjusted her spending slightly to make room for that habit. Then she increased the amount gradually. A year later, she had built a meaningful financial cushion. Not because she made a huge change, but because she stayed consistent. This is the part most people overlook. It is not about big actions. It is about repeated, small actions. Another important concept is where you keep your money. Not all accounts are equal. Some offer very minimal returns, while others provide better opportunities for your money to grow. Even a small difference in return can make a noticeable impact over time. But there is always a trade-off. Higher returns may come with restrictions, such as limited access or minimum balance requirements. So it is important to match your choice with your needs. For example, if you know you will need the money within a year, locking it away may not be the best option. On the other hand, if you have funds that you will not touch for a certain period, you may benefit from options that offer more stability and predictable returns. The key is balance. Now, let us talk about something that is often ignored but extremely important: behavior. Most financial challenges are not caused by lack of knowledge. They are caused by habits. Overspending, impulse buying, not tracking expenses, delaying decisions. These are behavioral patterns. If you can control your behavior, you can improve your financial situation even without increasing your income immediately. Start by tracking where your money goes. You do not need anything complicated, just awareness. Once you see your spending patterns clearly, you can make better decisions. Then look for small adjustments. Not extreme cuts, but realistic changes. Maybe reducing unnecessary subscriptions, being more intentional with dining out, or planning purchases instead of making quick decisions. Over time, these small changes add up. Now here is something very important to remember. There will be times when saving feels difficult. There will be months when unexpected expenses come up. There may even be periods where you cannot save at all. That does not mean you have failed. It simply means your situation has changed. What matters is that you return to the habit as soon as you can. Because in the long run, consistency always wins over perfection. Let us bring everything together. Right now, many people are experiencing financial pressure because costs are rising, savings are being used, and uncertainty is increasing. But this does not mean you are powerless. You can take control by understanding your money, building consistent habits, using systems that support your goals, and making intentional decisions. Start small if you need to. Automate your savings. Be aware of where your money is going. Choose better options for storing your money. And most importantly, stay consistent. Because at the end of the day, saving even a small amount today is still better than saving nothing. If this helped you see your situation more clearly, make sure you take action on at least one thing you learned today. And if you want more practical guidance like this, consider subscribing and let me know in the comments what your biggest financial challenge is right now.